Hey guys, welcome to Rock Talks. Today we're talking to Tommy Sickles, former drummer of Nothingface and current Beyond Paranoid. We discuss his whole story recording and performing with Nothingface, playing at Ozzfest2003, his best memory of Matt Holt, and more. If you like this interview, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share the video with all your friends. Also, very important, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. By the way, if you see a little advertisement at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the video, please do not skip it. By doing that, you're helping me a lot. Come on, guys, it's just a few seconds of your life, and it will really make a difference for me. I'm counting on all of you. Enjoy the interview. Hello, Tommy. Hello, Danny. How are you, my friends? Welcome to Rock Talks.
What's going on? How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. What about you?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm doing it the best I've ever been in my life right now. Doing really good.
Awesome. How are you, Danny? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here as a guest, lending my Nothingface expertise along with Knives Out, Beyond Paranoid, all the goodness.
Oh, cool. So you've heard the new record?
Yes.
Oh, great, man. I can't wait to hear your questions.
All right. Let's start. All right, Tommy, let's go way back to the early 2000s. You know, we want to start this interview talking about how you got the gig with Nothingface back in 2001 with the release of Violence, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna show you a picture or something.
All right.
Tell me if you can see this.
Yeah, I can see you wearing a white tuxedo.
These two guys right there were in the band Ingredient 17 with me.
Yeah.
And we made this cassette demo with Matt Holt.
Nice.
That's the first band that we were in together. And we were all in high school together, actually. Me and Matt.
I got this. Was it Mills Watkins High School?
Yeah, Watkins Mill.
Watkins. Oh, I got it.
No, it's cool. So basically what happened was we were both in like special ed, you know what I mean? And we started playing together. It was actually my first band. And then we started playing together. And our first show was at a deli, like right down the street from our house. And we ended up getting a gig. Hey, come here. This is my son, Sebastian. Say hi, Sebastian.
Hello, Sebastian. How are you?
Yeah, so he's doing great. So what happened was we won. Matt Holt was like kind of like the band manager at the time for Ingredient 17, and he heard of a band called Nothingface that won a radio contest to play with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts at a local pavilion, and they were playing at a small rock club in the area. And we won. We sent our demo tape into the club, and we won the opening slot to play with Nothingface at this small club. And we were 16 at the time.
What year was that?
It was 1994.
All right.
So we played the gig, and it was awesome. We killed it. And the producer of their first record, Pacifier, was doing live sound. And at this time, they had the old singer, David Gabbard.
Yeah. And
we got kicked out of the club because we weren't 21. But we left a really good impression, and we ended up recording our first album that actually never got released. And he ended up demoing Perfect Person that weekend. You know, like the first week we were recording, we did 8 songs that no one's ever heard. And that's when he joined Nothingface. He did a demo for Perfect Person, and I came in to do my drum tracks, and they had already recorded the song. And it was like kind of like breaking up with a girlfriend and like walking in, you know, on them hooking up. You know what I mean? It was like, what's going on here, guys? Hey, stop, go. And then so what happened was I fell in love with it. I was like, you have to do this. You know, I mean, this is like natural progression. Like before in our band, he sounded like James Hetfield. You know what I mean? There wasn't that. If you heard this demo,
Well, you say that was never released. It has made its way to YouTube now, and James Hetfield is in.
What this?
James Hetfield is in my notes because he does the yeah a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because like he didn't get the Matt Holt signature sound until Nothingface. It was like, who is this singer? You know what I mean? And I was just blown away that I was pissed because why can't he do this in our band, dude? So that we had like a couple of weeks where we were pissed, you know what I mean? And, yeah, but eventually it was just like, dude, this is like transcending. So I ended up working for the band for a while. I did lights and was a roadie for the band for a very long time. And yeah, so I'm sure you know all this stuff, but if you want to keep asking me more questions, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a really, really old story. But my question was, how did you get in the band as an official member back in 2000, right after the
Okay, so here's the deal. So Chris Hout, he was really sick in the studio. He had some stomach problems. And I had, worked with the band for a long time as the roadie and light guy. And they really respected my drumming. And I remember, Matt Holt calling me, telling me, he's like, look, we got an opportunity for you because Chris is not going to be able to tour on this record. And it was right before the Tattoo the Earth tour.
Wow.
And it was like crunch time. So they sent me the Violence record and gave me the keys to their practice space in Baltimore. And I went there alone and played with my headphones on while all the other bands in there could hear me playing the songs. And I'd leave the studio every day and it'd be like lines of people like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? What the hell's going on? And I played every day. And what I did was I recorded my drums over top of the demos and I would send it to them. With my drums, I would turn the level of the drums up over the recording so they can hear that I was matching it up. But I also didn't want to do it verbatim, because I play with like a feel. It's not really technical. So pretty much every time I play, it's different. The transitions are correct, but my fills, I go off a feeling in my heart when I'm playing, and I feed off the energy of the crowd, which makes every performance like its own entity. So when we got together, I was nervous, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the first song we did was Breathe Out. And it was like the craziest experience of my life to play that song with those guys and to see their reaction to my playing was it was just amazing.
So your first concert with Nothingface was Tattoo the Earth?
Well, my first concert was in front of 15,000 people at a radio show with Stone Temple Pilots, Slipknot, and
Seven Dust.
Other bands. So my first show, I was throwing up in the trailer before I got on stage. And Shannon Larkin from Godsmack, who was in Amen at the time, came over to me and helped me and put his arm around me. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to play the show.
Oh, man.
He got me up on stage because I was so nervous. I was whatever that shit is. It's like, I was freaked out, man, because it was like so many people. Before that, I only played in front of like a couple hundred people. You know what I mean? And there was a lot riding on this, man. I was like freaking out, but their songs are very intense and hard to play. And it's like physically exhausting. Like by the end of the show, my fingers would be ripped up, you know what I mean? From blisters, and I could barely hold on to my sticks. Eventually I couldn't use my thumbs because I would play so hard that I was playing like, just like holding the stick like this.
And you were using a lot of tape and gloves too.
Oh yeah, well, what I would do, I would rip open blisters so bad that I would dip my fingers in super glue. I would dump out all the super glue into a cup, and I would dip my thumb in it and let it dry. Because when you touch an open blister, how much that hurts? Imagine sweating on that and playing Can't Wait for Violence.
I bet. So how was the vibe back then in the year 2000 when you got into the band? Because at that point, Nothingface was an important band already. They put out 3 albums, and you were the new guy. So how was the whole vibe back then?
Oh my God, it was unbelievable. We had a blast. It was like things were progressing. You know, we started in a like an RV, and we were touring around, and we didn't have a driver, and it was really hard. But we got to play in front of all these big crowds with these really big bands, and then we saw that our fan base was growing. And then when we did our, you know, one-off shows and our own tours, we saw the, you know, the amount of people coming to our shows increasing, and it was fun, man. We had a blast.
Mm-hmm. Danny, you got a question about this era?
I guess the first thing was, I want to do a timeline because people know you as Tommy, the guy that joined in for, well, our experience as fans was picking up that CD and seeing the back of it and being kind of confused and going like, wait a minute, drums by Chris Houck and presenting Tommy Sickles.
Yeah.
And so as we all, you know, it took years for us to learn the whole story of Chris Houck and all that. So I don't want to be just Tommy Sickles, Nothingface guy. So here's a timeline that I think maybe you can fill in some gaps here.
Okay.
So Ingredient 17 with Matt Holt and the other two guys in that picture. Deep SA, what was that? Funk reggae band.
Yeah. I'm losing you just a little bit.
Oh, sorry. So Deep SA funk reggae band. So you went from this funk reggae band to getting the call. Now you're gonna play thrashing new metal.
I know.
You can just go ahead and talk about how go from reggae to Nothingface.
Dude, that's funny that you mentioned that, man. I remember I was in the practice space with those guys when I got the call, and you know, got the opportunity. I immediately was like, I have to.
We're losing you again.
We're totally. Before I actually got the gig, I went up and partied with the band, and was there for the mixing process and when they played it for the label, and I gained a lot of respect from the team. Just from this is the camaraderie with everybody. They really enjoyed my presence. But I was like wearing Birkenstocks and but that's just in the excitement, because I was very young and just excited about the whole thing, and ready to do whatever it took to get the gig. I was like completely all in.
So now you got the other side of it. So when Matt left Ingredient 17 to go to Nothingface, now Deep SA got it when you left them to go to Nothingface.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that band. I don't know if you ever heard any of the music that
I tried to look for something and I couldn't find anything.
Okay, so what I'll do, there's a band called Odds Even Band. They're on Pavement. They just got off tour with Edema and Flaw. The guitar player in that band was in Deep SA, and he has all the music for that. And there was an album called Soul Appeal that's ridiculous, dude. So
featuring Tommy Sickles.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome because I play like my rock style. It's my style. It's not like I'm playing reggae. I'm playing rock beats over reggae music, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting sound.
I gotta listen to that.
No, I gotta pull it up. It's funny, man, because I just started contacting with the guitar player Todd Stevens, and we're going to be writing some music together again. I just bought an electronic drum kit, and we're going to start like throwing stuff back and forth. But he has all that music. I would love to, shoot you guys a copy of that.
Nice.
Right.
Get it out there.
And so I guess my lead in from that is to go. You get the call from Nothingface. Now you're in the band. And you tour, and then now you go into demoing Skeletons.
Yes.
And this is a part where a lot of fans, mostly new fans jumped on.
Yeah.
And some were, I guess, a tad like, this is Nothingface, because the first demos that came out were they're being passed around, I guess, but to the labels: Ether,
Yeah.
Patricide,
Uh-huh.
In the Wake of,
Uh-huh.
and then a Tommy Sickles original, Beneath, which was known
Dude.
as.
That's the shit, man. I wish we would have done more with that song, obviously, because I helped write all the guitars mostly for that. You know, of course, Maxwell, who put his freaking down picking massive craziness on it, but yeah.
So like the main question is how to put it, like, you know, joking around a little bit. Where do you get the balls to walk into Nothingface and say, "Here's my song. Here's my riff, Tom. Here's Beneath."
Well, let me tell you something, dude. Those are my brothers, and we would blow each other away with everything we ever written. And they believed in me as a musician, and they felt like I was special, and they made me feel special. And when we got in the room to write music together, we listened to each other, and we would jam. I would jam on guitar. He would play with me, and when something was good, it was good, and we embraced it. So I think that's why Skeleton was a little bit different, because each one of the members of the band came to the table with what they were working on, and we embraced it and didn't care if it made sense or didn't make sense. The song Incarnadine, we purposely wrote that song to not repeat any of the parts. If you listen to it front to back, we never repeat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's on purpose. We just did, but it all makes sense.
One of Matt's last interviews, he said that Incarnadine was his favorite song in that moment because it was just chaos. Everything, I mean, to go from complete chaos to an acoustic, you know, somber.
Actually, you know what? That was the first song. Actually, it's one of the only songs we wrote together in a room. A lot of the songs, unfortunately, during that process was done individually, like Bill writing a lot of his music in his studio. And I was living with Bill at the time. I was kind of floating around. I was actually kind of homeless because I kind of like didn't need a car, didn't need a place to live. You know, like my background's sketchy as hell, like my upbringing. So when I joined Nothingface, I kind of just like, I literally like 100% went in, nothing else, no backup plan. I was just like, I'm doing this thing 100% and giving it my all.
All right.
So just one last part. How to finish the Beneath, to give you your proper praise for Beneath and
thank you.
And All Cut Up.
Yeah. Down in Flames, man. I wrote Down in Flames too.
Okay, the Japanese bonus track.
Yeah, I wrote that when it's like.
Right?
That was my question: is how do you walk in, and how do you do you vocally just sing the guitars or play the guitar and tell them this part goes like this, and this part goes like that?
I took his freaking gold top, man. Is what I did. I would take his gold top or whatever he was playing at the time. I'd grab it, and then they'd go smoke a cigarette or something, and I would just play his shit. You know what I mean? While they were out of the room, and then they'd just be walking in and like, holy fuck, you know, like listen to that shit. And I would go home and like, you know, write in my little 8-track. You know, I mean, I got mountains of freaking, you know, CDs and DAT tapes. I actually still have a bag that's full of DAT tapes of just songs that I wrote with my brothers growing up. Everything I've ever written, I have it, like, you know, which is pretty cool.
Right. So right after the release of Skeletons, Nothingface went like a super rocket. You know, it was like the highest point of the band so far, commercially at least, because we got the chance to watch the Ether video on MTV, Much Music.
I'm really proud of that video
and whatnot. Yeah, great video, but probably the best of all Nothingface videos.
And I got so many stories about videos that could have been and would have been.
All right, so what can you tell us about the recording of that video clip, Ether?
Oh, that was honestly, it's very like blurry, because a lot of the time on the road, you know, in between, you know, because we recorded these videos while we were touring, so you kind of would be like, day off, we're gonna go shoot a video. I remember it was in Nashville. I remember it was a complete white void, and they had a storyline about, you know, us disappearing. So it was just like one day, and we just did some live shots, and then there was one scene where in the video where we're being interrogated individually, and the director was like, okay, he asked us individually what was the craziest, scariest way you think it would be to die. And I was like, well, I'm fiendishly afraid of needles. Like, I pass out. When I give blood, dude, I got all these freaking tattoos, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's up?
Yeah, that's
And
my
he was
son.
like, hey.
That's my
And he
son,
was like,
TJ. Say hi, TJ.
What's up, man?
Hello, TJ. Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
Danny.
What?
What's up, Danny?
We're hearing all the stories back when your dad hit the road.
Hey, do the chunk, man, from
Why?
the Goonies. Do the chunk. He just did it earlier. Do it. Hey, when was Al Pacino born?
1944,
What about Adam Sandler?
September 9th, 1966.
What about who else? Give me somebody else.
Give me Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
July 16th, 1967. Did you know he suffered through headache while filming the movie Elf?
All right,
He
yeah.
ate all of the sugary stuff
Really?
and then he threw up.
All right, yeah. He's a plethora of useless knowledge.
Yeah, I see. So you were
All right,
saying
so where were we? The video?
the
Well, I heard a rumor about a needle in an eyeball.
Oh, okay. So I pass out when I give blood. Like my son was at the doctor's a few once, and they went to give me blood, and I passed out. And I woke up to him giving me a lollipop to bring my sugar level back up. Hey, get out of here, brother.
Mhm.
He likes you, Danny.
All right. So, what can you tell us about the Ozzfest 2003 experience? Because you got to be there at the really early spot. I think it was like 10:30 in the morning, something like that.
Well, basically, we drew straws at the beginning of the tour to see who would play first, and it was a revolving schedule. So everybody had a chance to open the show, and then everyone had a chance to headline. So every city, we would bump up a slot. So, you know what I mean?
All right. All right.
Yeah, so it was just kind of equal on the side stage for that. That was an unbelievable tour.
And how was the crowd reaction when you played songs from Skeletons back then? Because you were promoting that album.
Yeah, I mean, we would open up with Breathe Out every single show we ever did, but then we would do Murderous Masturbation, and just people would lose their minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That song is just like extremely fun to play because it's just so simplistic in nature and powerful. And that's kind of like, to be honest with you, man, I love violence to death. It's like, come on, buddy. Love violence to death, but it's like, it was so grueling on your body. I mean, it's a relentless album, but live, it's like, for me, Skeletons was like a breath. Like, it was more my style. It was just, it breathed more. I was able to really like play into the pocket in a lot of the music. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, every album they've ever done, and I've embraced it and love it. But, you know, Skeletons just playing their songs during Ozzfest like that was just like the pinnacle for me, because I was totally 100% part of building those songs instead of just coming in after it was already recorded. You know, I'd always kind of like was pissed off at TVT by putting my name on that album, to be honest with you, because every time I would sign an autograph, they're like, "Did you record on this record?" I'm like, "God damn it!" Like, I never really understood it. It was done. Like, they printed it. They didn't. I can't even remember if they asked me. I don't know why they did that, to be honest.
I remember Chris Hauck also being slightly annoyed and confused.
I'm sure he was, and I talked to him at length about it, and it is what it is. I mean, it's out there. I mean, I think what happened was, hey, hold on, guys. Hey, Sebastian, quiet. I got 4 kids, man. Hopefully you don't mind.
All right.
I got 4 too.
So this is the story. So when I went up to New York, before, you know, as soon as I got the opportunity. So when I went up to New York, I still hadn't got the gig yet, but I brought the demo of me playing the drums on top of the music. So they were already jazzed about it. And we partied with TVT, and the A&R rep and other people who worked for the label were fans of the band from Providence and Boston, close friends of ours that when we were at band touring, they knew me from back in the day when I toured with them. So they already had a relationship with me. So we were just like, I think what happened was we became a family. It was like this really strong feeling. And I feel like they did that to honor me into the band, I'm thinking. But, you know, I really wasn't I was so out of my mind excited that I didn't really give a shit. You know what I mean? At the time, it was, you know, I was just so enamored by what was happening because it was happening so fast. And it, like, imagine, you know, I was playing in front of 200 people in my local town. Now I'm sitting in a, you know, control booth with the producer that produced Tools at Nima and listening to him mix live and talking to him about Maynard and like watching people's reaction to For All the Sin for the first time playing it for our record label, having people crying. And it was just unreal, dude.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like, I don't give a shit what's going on, man. I'm like, I was out of control, like a kid in a candy store. If you went to any of our shows and saw me, dude, they would just let me take the microphone and they would write shit on paper plates and you know, I get up there and read whatever was written on it.
There are many YouTube videos where after a set, you're jumping into the stands, high-fiving everybody. You were.
Yeah. You know what my favorite thing to do was? Go to Applebee's before the show started and meet the staff and just hang out and drink beers. And a majority of them would be going to the concert, but they didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? And then I would get everybody backstage passes and everything, you know, then have them come out to the show. Like I would leave to pay my tab and I'm like, you going to the show tonight? I'm like, yeah, cool. It's like, I'll see you there, man. I'm playing. And they're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
All right.
So that was like one of my favorite things.
All right. So tell me, back in 2009, did you guys actually recorded a whole album, a whole studio album?
Back in 2009. So this is after Skeletons, correct?
Yep.
So we wrote like 30 songs.
Oh my God.
And yeah, we wrote like 30 songs in different formats, you know, in Bill's basement. Yeah, it was a really hard time. You know, it was like, yeah, that's kind of when things started going south for us, I think. Was it
mostly just, I mean, other than the obvious stories and rumors, was there any label pressure to sell more? To like, I mean, sell out in a way? Not really, but.
Well, things happened abruptly because we were on tour with Ozzfest. We didn't even get to finish the tour. And I truly regret not fighting for us to, because we didn't even get to play our hometown. You know what I mean? It was really gut wrenching because we were all frustrated with the label because it was during the time when digital was taking over. No one's buying records.
Yeah.
We didn't have the same support from the label as Violence did. Our shows weren't as, you know, there wasn't that many more. You could tell it was like, it was going down. It didn't like, it's hard for a band who dedicates their life to something, see that happening. It's frustrating. And then the label not putting forth the money and wanting us to go back. I mean, I was personally willing to go back and pour in a van and all that stuff, but I think it's hard to go back once you're at a certain point. To be honest with you, it's not about being humble and stuff. It's like, it's gut-wrenchingly hard to tour in a fucking van, man. Like it just destroys your body. You're with like 8 other people and trying to compete with all these other bands and buses and having crews and everything. Like we were hurting so bad internally, to be honest with you, that for us, you know, I think Matt just had enough and he got the crowd to chant, you know, fuck TVT on stage. Yeah. You know, they got back to our president of the label and they pretty much pulled our tour support and we had to take, you know, we had a decision to make and we all decided that we were just going to, you know, pack it up. And it was, you know, probably the most rash decision I think any of us ever made because I wish we wouldn't have done that. I wish we would have fought to finish that tour. But, you know, things happen for a reason. It was tough. And yeah.
Yeah, that was the Skeletons era, right? But I was asking about after that, when you were writing and recording a new album, you said 30 songs, right? Are those songs mixed and mastered?
No, they were just in demo format. A lot of those songs have been heard. And, you know, I can go back through all my demos and stuff like that, but it's just different pieces and parts. It's probably not full songs. It's probably just bits and pieces of different pieces of music that me and Maxwell, because a lot of the songs were written with me and Tom in his basement. And we would give it to Bill. We'd bass on it, and then Matt was just like struggling to get work done. So there was a lot of pieces of music, but not a lot of songs that were vocals were on it. It was just
how many full songs recorded from that period?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you an exact number. I'd have to go back and look. But there was quite a few songs musically that were completed without vocals on them, but were used in different ways.
Do you believe those songs will ever see the light of day in some format?
I'd have to talk with the guys and really sit back and look at all the music, because I'm sure Tom has taken some of those riffs and used them for Hell Yeah. A lot of that music got sifted through with different bands.
And Knives Out too.
Yeah, Knives Out too. So a lot of that music filtered through a lot of all of our other projects. So we just wrote a shit ton of music, and it really never amounted to anything because of just us not being able to get together and finish it. It was really hard, man. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for being so open and honest about this, because I didn't tell the other guys I was doing this interview, but you know what? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I was frustrated because me and Tom were spending so much time in recording these songs, just to not have other members of the band take it seriously and always have an excuse. And it was frustrating. It was really frustrating. I love Matt. He's my brother. And it was really unfortunate, to what happened with him. But he was one of the main contributors of the band not being able to get past that hurdle, man. And it's I'm not blaming him. I love him, man. He's the most. I tried my hardest to get him out of his, funk, for lack of a better term, but because he's amazing. Like, if he just would have believed in himself more, it's unbelievable that he didn't do anything other than Nothingface during all this stuff. It's like really sad, because everything he did was gold to me.
Oh yeah, I agree. So what's your best memory about Matt Holt?
My best memory about Matt Holt, he always loved me like a brother, and he built me up so much and made me believe in myself. I'll never forget that when all the other guys in the band didn't think I could do it. You know what I mean? Because there was times where they wanted to kick me out because I was drinking and going crazy and fucking up songs on stage. I'll never forget, like, we were doing Pantera, and I was too afraid to tell them I needed another bass drum pedal. You know what I mean? Because I was just like all timid and shy about it. It's an expense, whatever. But I didn't realize, what if it breaks? So we're playing like this arena full of fans, and I broke my kick drum pedal and threw it into the crowd, and like walked off the stage when Vinny was right there saying, "You could have used my kit, man." I'm like, fuck. So I go back to the bus, and those guys are fucking pissed, man. Like, don't you ever do that again. You're going to Guitar Center, you're buying 3 more of them bastards.
All right.
No, but Matt, he, we were friends since high school. You know what I mean? And we would always sit in the back of the bus smoking and hanging out. We had this little side project called the Blueberry Lounge, which unfortunately got burned up in a fire when he burned his house down.
Yeah.
And it was like rap and drum machine beats, and we both did vocals on it.
All right.
It was, it was.
Tommy, sorry, we only have 4 more minutes, so let's go right into Beyond Paranoid, your new band. So tell us about this band. What's the type of music, when we can find this new song?
Okay, so we got the music up on Spotify and iTunes. You can just search for Beyond Paranoid. The album's called Dead Meat. It's with the same members that were, minus Tom Maxwell, of course, from Knives Out. We just are really great friends, you know what I mean? And we just love getting together and writing music in whatever capacity we can. And we just gave it a name. Honestly, I kind of wish we would have just like called it the Basement Tapes or something like that, because it seems like those guys are putting out bands. We both were like, me and Todd were talking the other day. It's like, this is another band, you know what I mean? Because we haven't done any shows or anything yet. And, they're busy with Dog Fashion Disco right now, so I'm sure eventually we'll do some shows. But it's hard because we never played live with those songs.
What can you say about the musical direction of this new project?
Oh, it's freaking awesome. It's like punk rock meets like we purposely wanted to like do it as extreme as possible.
I have a bunch of little categories here. I heard some industrial.
Yeah. It's like
Going,
ministry.
and then from industrial, it would switch into like a hardcore punk.
Yeah.
And then so that was Wet Markets, and then Alien Summer, blast beats into melodic drum roll.
Yeah, dude, that's honestly like the best drumming I think I've ever done.
I mean, I was saying right here, like the thing I'm asking is, it's the most complete Tommy Sickles album.
Absolutely, I think it's because I wasn't fucked up when I recorded it. I'll be honest with you, man. Yeah, the producer, I hadn't played drums in like 5 months prior to recording that album, and the producer was like, "This is gonna suck," you know what I mean? And after the first 2 songs, like, dude, you were playing better than you've ever played in your life.
It's the best Tommy Sickles album. There's groove metal. There's melodic 80s inspired heavy metal. There's the covers, you nail them.
You know, it's funny, man. A lot of my drumming, I always thought I need to play as fucking hard as I can to get the performance. I never once thought that my drums were microphone. You know what I mean? I'm like, so when I was in the studio, I relaxed. You know what I mean? I just, you know, I worked on my mix and my headphones instead of just playing as hard as I can and not being able to play through the song and fight through it. I concentrated on doing the performance. You know what I mean? And I was able to, you know, come up with really great fills, and I was energetic. I was hydrated, had good breakfast, you know, totally different than being hungover, coming in there raw and just
Father of 4.
Yeah, and just trying to beat the fuck out of my drums and just like think that's all I needed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as a father of 4 and still rocking out, you have to be, I guess, in the best shape of your life.
Yeah, well, I started running to you know, to counteract the bad you know, vices. So I started entering 5Ks and half marathons, and you know, I actually won a couple, which is pretty crazy.
Amazing.
The Navy, there was a 9/11 run in Baltimore. I got first place for the age group 40 to 50.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
I had just turned 40, but still, I'm not gonna. You know, I was walking back to my car and I heard my name, Tommy Sickles. I'm like, what? I went back and I got a plaque and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Congratulations, though. The new album, it's the most complete Tommy Sickles album.
No, I appreciate it, man.
You
know, I'm so proud of that record, and I can't wait to write with those guys again, man. It's like exciting. We talk about it all the time. Super exciting.
Zoom is about to close. We have very few seconds. Maybe we can continue this some other time. We have to talk about Knives Out as well.
Yeah, I mean, sorry I kept, you know, going off base and stuff, but you know, I'm just excited to talk to you guys and answer your questions.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Tommy, and looking forward to do this again. Right?
Absolutely, man.
Right. Thank you so much, Danny. Take care, man. Bye-bye. If you like this interview, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share the video with all your friends. Also, very important, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.